in the trial of Senator Bob Menendez. The New Jersey Democrat is now facing bipartisan calls to resign after being found guilty on all charges at his federal corruption trial in Manhattan.
Yesterday's verdict follows a 9-week trial in which prosecutors said that Menendez abused the power of his office to protect allies from criminal investigations and enrich associates, including his wife. Joining us now to break down the case, Donte Mills, civil and criminal attorney. Donte, good to see you once again.
Good morning. Good to see you guys.
So what was your reaction when you heard the verdict? Surprised at all, or did it go pretty much as you thought it was?
I'm not surprised at all. And the reason is because there were three associates that Bob Menendez did this activity with that were charged along with him. Two of those men sat trial with him. One of those men decided to cooperate. And it's very difficult when you have a cooperating witness who's going to come in and lay out the entire plan for the jury to hear. And that's what happened in this case. And the plan that was laid out by that cooperating witness was straight out of a movie. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, including gold bars, cash payments, mortgage payments, things like that, that made it absolutely clear that Senator Bob Menendez was receiving gifts in exchange for his political influence. And the curious part to me is after the verdict was read and Bob Menendez came out and he spoke outside of the courthouse, he said that what this verdict would do is put all other senators at risk. So that makes you wonder, is this something that's rampant in that community among these legislators? Are they all doing things where they're receiving either gifts or cash or other things in exchange for political power? You want to be able to weed that out. This was a clear story, but you're also curious as to who else is out there doing what, because we have to make sure that our politicians stay clear of that kind of activity.
Donte Mills chose not to testify during the trial. Do you feel like that decision hurt him and influenced the jury's decision at all?
You have the right not to testify as a defendant in this country, and the judge instructs the jury that they can't hold it against you. Now, what that does do is when the jury heard the story of the activity, it gave them nothing to counter it with. If Senator Bob Menendez took the stand and said, well, here's really what was happening, the jury would have had another option. They would have had something to believe. But instead, he chose not to take the stand. And his attorney simply told the jury, this is a made up story. You can't trust it. But they didn't give the jury an alternative scenario as to what was happening with these business associates that clearly Bob Menendez had communication with. So I do believe that without Bob Menendez testifying, it was a little easier for the jury to come to the decision that he was guilty of all counts that he was charged with.
Donte, I want to ask you a twofold question here. Now, he's vowed to immediately appeal this conviction. A, do you think it'll be successful? And B, his wife Nadine set to go on trial in the next 2 months. What is it? How does this bode for her?
That's a phenomenal question, because part of the defense was that Senator Bob Menendez was not in communication with these businessmen directly, that his wife was the one who was actually communicating. And Senator Bob Menendez's attorney said that his wife never told him what was going on. And that was part of their defense. Obviously, the jury did not buy that, but you have to wonder how that's going to play when his wife case comes up for trial. Are they now going to try and protect his wife and say that he knew he was the one doing the activity and she was innocent? That really puts him in a bind, because if he's going to appeal this, he has to maintain that he's innocent. But if he wants to protect his wife, he's going to have to step up and say, I was the one that was running this activity and she was unrelated to this. So he's going to have to pick a side, either appeal and protect himself or try to protect his wife, because her criminal case is coming up soon.
Now, Menendez running for re-election to his New Jersey seat as an independent, but many are calling for him to resign. Are you anticipating him to listen and step down?
You would hope so. He was found guilty of being a foreign agent, and that's a dangerous situation. We're talking about the governments of Egypt, Qatar, supposedly were involved in giving him payments so that he can do favors for them politically. And you don't want anyone in office that's going to allow that to happen. So whether he's running as a Democrat, which he was, a Republican, or an independent, you want to make sure that our legislators are pure and not kind of selling their services for selling their political services for financial gain. It looks like he's going to be pushed out of his party, but acting as an independent, he'll have the ability to run. You just hope that either the voters or there's some kind of rules that's going to be in place that prevents him from doing so in the future.
Donte, surprised at all that there's been no cries from fellow Democrats or anyone in the political sphere of the what would the term that we've heard lately, the weaponization of the Justice Department or anything like? No one's really coming to his aid. They've really kind of left him on an island here.
Well, he may have created that island for himself because, again, the evidence was pretty clear in this situation. His house was raided, and they found gold bars hidden in his house. They found cash hidden in his house. They know that he received things like a vehicle that was clearly confiscated by the authorities. So it's hard for any legislator to come defend him when, again, the evidence was clear. He had someone he was working with directly, one of those businessmen, cooperating and saying, here's exactly what we did. I don't think any legislator is going to put themselves out there and say this is a weaponized justice system, because the evidence was clear and the jury found it that way when they found Bob Menendez guilty of all charges.
All right, Donte Mills, civil and criminal attorney, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good morning.
All right, Donte, good to see you.